As each moment ticks by, Jennifer's loved ones agonize over her disappearance. Did she get turned around in an unfamiliar city? Or was her fate much worse?
What's up, Panic Fam? I'm Hannah. And if it's 2 a.m., the lights are off and the popcorn has gone cold, you know, it's Panic TV time. Welcome. If you survived this, and this, congratulations, all right? Congratulations, but your luck runs out here.
Once upon a time, Jennifer Montroy and Joe Peck find each other, just as life is taking them each in new directions.
Jennifer was where she wanted to be. I was very tickled for her.
Joe had a new job. He was living on his own. He was head over heels in love with Jennifer.
They were young, they were happy, and they were making plans for the future.
But in an instant, those plans are shattered.
The next morning, we got the phone call. It was just disbelief.
The killer has no thought of human life.
This person had a lot of rage.
This type of thing does not happen to your family.
It makes you realize that there is really, really evil out there.
For this couple, the honeymoon is over. In Kissimmee, Florida, Jennifer Montroy feels like a princess. With her close-knit family by her side, Jennifer knows her wedding will be perfect.
For Jennifer, the pomp and circumstance of the wedding and being able to get dressed up in a beautiful wedding dress, she was very excited about that.
Oh, she was beautiful. It was a happy moment in my life because my daughter was happy.
She had always talked for many years about how she wanted to have a big family. I think at that moment, she was thinking about love and her future.
For this 24-year-old bride, the future shines bright. She's an aspiring artist with a flair for wedding decor.
Jennifer had put a lot of thought and planning into the wedding. She was very detail-oriented. Joe seemed very excited on the day of the wedding. He seemed to be jittery and nervous and excited all at the same time.
Joe Peck is a 28-year-old jack of all trades with eyes for just one woman, Jennifer. He yearns for a stable life with his new bride.
I was excited for Joe and the direction that his life was going. I felt like he had made it.
To be my husband.
To be my husband.
For better or for worse.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
These lovebirds even share a common sense of humor.
The wedding was on April Fool's Day, and that seemed ridiculous to me. Are they at any time gonna say, April Fools, we're really not doing this? But they went through with it.
For Jennifer and Joe,
you may kiss your bride.
Their fairy tale nuptials are very real.
So, to me, it seemed like it was one big happy family now. It wasn't her family and his family, it was a family.
But all too soon, this storybook romance takes a terrible turn. 7 months later, Joe flies to Oklahoma to visit his family. His phone calls to Jennifer at their home back in Florida go unanswered.
Hey, babe, it's me. I guess we can't seem to get our schedules straight here. I love you. I gotta talk to you. I'll call around till I find you. Bye.
I walked up and said, "Where's Jennifer?" They said,
"I've been calling her all day. I haven't heard back from her once. I tried to..."
And I said, "Time to get worried."
Joe explains he hasn't heard from Jennifer since he left Florida.
I'd asked him about, well, when does Jennifer go to work? And he said, you know, like, she has to go to work this afternoon. So I picked up the phone to call her and didn't get an answer.
Jim, this is your dad. We've been trying to get a hold of you. You got everybody here scared.
I call where she was working at. We'll find out she hadn't showed up at work. That was just not her personality.
Jennifer may be a dreamer, but she's also as reliable as they come.
The Manatee County Sheriff's Department received a telephone call from Joe Peck. He stated that his wife had dropped him off at Tampa International Airport, that he had been unable to contact her since he had been in Oklahoma. So he was consequently worried about her.
Jennifer's disappearance also packs on an extra layer of concern. The new bride is 4 months pregnant with the couple's first child.
Jennifer was thrilled to be pregnant. She was thrilled to be becoming a mother. It just doesn't make any sense that she would suddenly disappear and not tell anybody where she was.
So where did Jennifer go? And why? The turn of events simply doesn't make sense for a happy couple just beginning a family of their own. Jennifer grows up in a small Texas town on the outskirts of Houston.
Jennifer definitely was very effervescent. She was always happy, had a smile on her face. She really never met anybody that she couldn't walk up to and just say hi and start a conversation with. She was one of those people.
When Jennifer is a teenager, her family moved to Duncan, Oklahoma. But crossing state lines doesn't affect her in the slightest.
She made that adjustment immediately. We'd move in, and before we'd get unpacked, she already had friends.
First time I met her, in her hand was a big batch of chocolate chip cookies. That's, you know, one of the way Jennifer liked to greet people.
Did you like this? So nice.
After high school graduation, Jennifer's accepted into college, where she enrolls in art classes. She dreams of a future in the art world.
She used to come to my restaurant there in Duncan at the holidays and paint the windows with characters for the season. And people used to stop there on US 81 and take pictures of these windows.
One of her big plans was to move to Florida and get in with Disney. That was, you know, just an example of what kind of a dreamer she was.
It seems the sweet-natured Jennifer has everything going for her, except a special guy.
She had her goals, but still, you knew that in the back she was looking for the love of her life. She wouldn't talk about it because she would always be happy with the way things were. But she was searching for that love.
Jennifer had so much going for her, but in some ways she didn't feel fulfilled because she was missing love. Human beings are wired to bond. We do better when we're in a relationship. So the fact that she was a high-achieving young woman, in some ways, isn't as important as the fact that she really felt she deserved a good, solid relationship.
Jennifer dreams of one day having a successful career and a family to call her own.
Jennifer definitely had always wanted to have a child, and I think it's because she had so much love to give to other people that she really felt like that would be the ultimate way she could express her love for somebody.
While Jennifer dreams big, over in the dusty plains of Oklahoma, Joe Peck's childhood isn't so carefree.
My mother was a single mother, raising 3 children on her own. We did seem to move around a lot, kind of unsettled in that aspect.
Despite the frequent moves, Joe's family remains close as his mother strives to give her children a normal life. But before long, Joe's life is turned upside down.
When my mom remarried, my mom's new husband and Joe did not get along very well.
This new stepfather changed the entire family composition the family dynamic, just on the cusp of hitting adolescence. So then the hormones get involved, and now he's becoming a rebellious teenager.
Joe, as a teenager, had quite a few run-ins with law enforcement. He was involved in some burglaries, theft of autos, and that escalated and led him to serve some time in the penitentiary.
It's the lowest point in Joe's life, but he vows to change. Joe lands a job interview at a diner in Duncan, Oklahoma. The owner is none other than Jennifer's father.
Joe walked in and he looked like a very clean-cut young man, presented himself very well. In the interview, he came across as very much wanting to change his life and everything.
Can you cook?
Yeah, of course.
Well, I think I can hire you on a trial basis.
He knew that he messed up, so I figured I'd give him a chance. I hired him on as a cook.
Joe's not the only one looking forward to a brighter tomorrow. In 1993, Jennifer finishes college with a degree in graphic arts and sets her sights on working at Disney.
When Jennifer graduated college, she really focused on working full-time in the restaurant so that she could save up some money and make that move to Florida.
While Jennifer works the late shift, she meets Joe. And that's when sparks begin to fly.
Guess you work by the hour.
Joe and Jennifer met at the perfect time of their lives, and I really believe that timing is everything with relationships. They met when they were about to change their lives in a big way.
But as fast as their love begins, just a year and a half later, everything is falling apart. From Oklahoma, Joe is desperate to help the authorities find Jennifer.
He gave him information about their home address, the car that she was in, which is an older white Pontiac. They went to her home and looked around to see if the car was there. There was no response at the residence. Sheriff's office immediately listed her as missing. They also listed her car as being missing.
Joe explains he's worried Jennifer may have gotten lost after she dropped him off at the airport.
He told the police that she wasn't familiar at all with the Tampa area and that she possibly got into some bad area of town and that he was concerned that something bad may have happened to her.
As each moment ticks by, Jennifer's loved ones agonize over her disappearance. Did she get turned around in an unfamiliar city? Or was her fate much worse? Newlywed Joe Peck has reported his pregnant wife Jennifer missing.
What investigators knew at that time was that Jennifer had dropped him off at the airport, and he had flown to Oklahoma. Once he got up to Oklahoma, he wanted to call her to say how much he missed her and how much he loved her.
But Jennifer never answered the phone. Joe immediately flies home to Florida. Although Jennifer's purse and car are missing, there are no signs of foul play, and nothing has been stolen.
A missing woman is certainly something to be concerned about, but a missing pregnant woman, oh, that's something else. We have to worry about the health of the mother.
As authorities wait for Jennifer's call, Joe fears he might lose his wife just as their newlywed lives are beginning. It's been a summer of puppy love as the affection between Jennifer and Joe blooms.
Sometimes opposites attract because they complement each other. She was like the stable, solid force, got the great grades, nose to the books, followed all the rules, and he was a little bit more on the wild side, not afraid to take risks and have new experiences. And this was very attractive to both of them. It was an exciting time.
Joe had never really had any serious relationships. So when Jennifer came along, that was the first girl that he ever introduced to the family as somebody that he might be serious about.
But as autumn approaches, Jennifer has big news. Her dreams of becoming a graphic artist are one step closer to coming true.
I'm moving to Orlando.
No, really?
It was like, hey, she's finally getting out on her own. She'll be able to blossom, really to develop into the person that she wants to be. And it really made me happy for her. I'm really proud.
Although Joe will miss Jennifer, he's supportive of her decision.
It's happening.
And not long after she leaves, he decides to follow his heart too.
It had been about 2 months that Jennifer had gone to Florida, and then Joe comes to me.
I thought today was your day off. What are you doing here?
Actually, I just came by to let you know that I'm quitting.
Quitting? What for?
And then the next thing I hear that he's going to Florida, which then crossed my mind, well, there's only one reason he'd take off cross country to go to Florida, and that was Jennifer.
With only a handful of belongings strapped to his back, Joe rides his motorcycle all the way to Orlando.
It was exciting and scary and all of those emotions all at the same time. But he was in love, and that's what he was going to do.
A few days later, Jennifer answers a polite knock on her front door.
What? Oh. It's so good to see you.
It was very romantic. He flew by the seat of his pants. He had no money. He got on his motorcycle. He said, I need to see the woman I love. And I'm sure this felt wonderful to Jennifer.
He was head over heels in love with this girl, and he was going to do everything he could to make her his wife and have a family with her.
Are you serious? Really?
Joe moves in with Jennifer, and she gets him a job at the restaurant where she works. It helps pay the bills until she lands a job at Disney.
Jennifer dreamed of having the perfect career and the perfect man, and now she has both.
I kind of built this cabinet for the apartment.
It looks amazing. You did it.
The two settle into the groove of day-to-day life.
Actually, this is also kind of part of the reason I wanted to talk to you. You know, like 2 hours down Bradenton? Well, there's a lot of this kind of work
But
there.
soon, Joe wants to move.
There was more construction, and he could get jobs in the construction field.
There, I think we could make a better living.
When women love somebody, their priorities tend to shift a little bit. Jennifer believed that she could always come back to a career. A career is something you plan, that you create, that you do, but love just happens. It could be a once-in-a-lifetime experience to have a love like this.
And that's when Joe suggests another big change.
And I was hoping maybe you could just hand me the hammer.
Yeah.
What is this?
Will you marry me?
Yes.
Yeah?
Joe called me and announced that he had asked Jennifer to marry him, and he wanted to share that with the family and wanted as much of us as possible to come out to Florida for the wedding.
With a beautiful ring on her finger, Jennifer feels everything is falling into place.
With her lifelong dream of wanting to have a family compared to her dream that developed later of pursuing art, I think the lifelong dream of the family and the baby won out.
But now all those dreams are in jeopardy. Family and friends hold out hope Jennifer is alive, but as the hours pass, fear sets in. Police ask Joe if he knows any reason someone would want to harm Jennifer.
Joe said that they were having some financial issues, but all that he was very happy that they were going to have a baby together. He didn't have any arguments. Joe said that they were basically the perfect couple.
Investigators wonder if the couple's money woes caused Jennifer to take off and clear her head. And that's when a call comes in that breaks this case wide open.
The Tampa Police Department received a phone call from patrons at a place called the Click Lounge. And the call was that there was a white Pontiac that had been in the parking lot for a day or two.
It's Jennifer's car, and a huge lead for the investigation. Maybe the white Pontiac will hold clues to Jennifer's whereabouts. But it's what investigators find inside the car that shatters everything. 48 hours after newlywed Jennifer Peck is reported missing, police search her car at a Tampa strip club.
When the police first got there, they noticed that the passenger window was open. Also, all the doors were unlocked.
Visibly, from outside looking in, what you could see were the car keys were in the ignition of the car. But missing was the trunk key.
The pocketbook was laying in plain view right on the front seat. And you could see credit cards and you could see some cash that were there.
Was Jennifer abducted the moment she pulled into the parking lot? If so, why was nothing stolen?
Ugh, I swear my neighbors think I'm probably getting murdered right now.
There was a horrible odor coming from the back end of the car. If you've been a street cop more than a few months, you know the smell of death.
With money on the front seat.
You got a trunk key?
There's no trunk key on there.
Crowbar, open it up. Yeah, I got a crowbar.
Decisions were made to open the trunk of the car.
When the police opened the trunk, they found Jennifer's body.
She is 4 months pregnant, and Tampa PD's newest homicide. It's a devastating ending for a woman on the brink of life's next chapter. Just 7 months earlier, Jennifer delights in planning her upcoming nuptials. It allows her to show off her artistic talents.
You could tell that Jennifer had put a lot into the details with the flowers and the candles and the just everything about it. She was very conscious about the little things.
And the dress Jennifer finds for her big day is something straight out of a fairy tale.
It was big, you know, and bubbly like Jennifer.
It really was a pretty dress. So that was, you can tell by the dress that it was very important to her that day.
So excited.
Joe was very excited about the wedding. He just was ready for this.
Joseph, repeat after me.
They definitely had smiles on their faces and were holding hands. I think that Jennifer very much enjoyed the day.
Jennifer fantasized her whole life about having a beautiful wedding, a perfect prince of a husband. And so in that moment, it was like all her dreams and fantasies coming together. This was it. This was what this young girl dreamed of.
After the wedding, Jennifer and Joe packed their bags and moved to Bradenton.
They were young, they were happy, and they were making plans for the future.
Jennifer gets a job at a grocery store while Joe works for a cabinet maker. It's a simple life, but their love seems real, especially when it comes to the romantic notes they write to one another.
I know Jennifer and Joe shared a lot of communication in cards. They expressed themselves back and forth to each other about their relationship. They seemed to be very happy in their life.
May I have this dance?
Yes.
There's nothing more powerful than the written word. In sending and leaving notes for each other, they were constantly almost writing a contract to each other about their love. And the fact that it was handwritten gave it so much more meaning. I think this was very important to how they established a good communication and a commitment to each other.
Can you dip?
I can try. That's gonna take some work.
But now their promising future is destroyed. Detectives 𝐀𝐟𝐭𝐞𝐫 and Jose Feliciano examined Jennifer's body.
There was a very noticeable blunt trauma on the left side of her head, a little behind her ear.
There's no question that whoever hit her wanted her dead.
On the back seat, detectives find a framing hammer that seems to be their murder weapon.
The medical examiner ruled that Jennifer died from blunt trauma, which would be the hit to the head.
Unfortunately, the car provides no further evidence.
Naturally, they processed the whole scene for fingerprints, for fibers, and nothing came back.
It's a horrible end to a beautiful life. And now investigators must break the devastating news to Joe.
In the morning, the Tampa Police Department go to Joe's house.
They tell him Jennifer has been murdered. Who could have done this to his new beautiful wife and their unborn child?
I could not imagine what he was going through, losing the love of his life, a new baby.
Visibly shaken, Joe asks police an important question.
Can you tell me if she was wearing any jewelry when you found her?
The last time Joe saw his wife, she was wearing a bracelet and her wedding rings.
He pulled up a small advertisement from a jewelry company in Bradenton that actually had a photograph of that emerald bracelet. And he gave them the advertisement and said, "This is what I gave her." He then described in great detail a ring that she was wearing, their wedding ring, which was like a nugget, rough-looking gold, and a diamond engagement ring that matched that set.
Investigators explain Jennifer wasn't wearing any jewelry when her body was found. Could her missing jewels be the key to solving this case? Joe has a shocking theory.
If you find the bracelet, then you'll find the person that killed my wife.
Newlywed Jennifer Peck is dead.
If you find this bracelet, you'll find the person that killed my wife.
And now Jennifer's husband Joe is sure whomever killed Jennifer took the jewelry she was wearing.
Well, with the jewelry missing that Joe said that she was wearing, it could mean somebody had robbed her and taken the jewelry from her, and then killed her and put her in the trunk.
Using Joe's photos as a reference, investigators canvass pawn shops in the area, but come up empty-handed. So detectives return to the evidence. And that's when a strange suspicion surfaces. When detectives told Joe his wife was killed,
You all right?
he seemed devastated.
Take your time.
Or did he?
Detective Feliciano got real close and was looking, and with his hands up there was absolutely no tears coming down whatsoever.
Although Joe's behavior seems suspicious, it's hardly concrete evidence.
People grieve in different ways. Some people cry, and some people don't when they receive horrific, tragic news. Just because someone doesn't cry, it doesn't mean that they're guilty.
After all, why would Joe want to harm Jennifer just as they settle into married life? Four months earlier, Jennifer and Joe seem happy. And Jennifer has the surprising announcement. She's pregnant.
When Jennifer got pregnant, I mean, the first thing she did was call me and tell me about it and how excited she was.
But when Jennifer gives Joe the good news,
What's this?
his reaction is devastating.
Aren't you surprised?
Is this what I think it is?
Yeah, we're having a baby.
Jennifer had told a coworker Joe didn't take the news the way that she thought that was going to happen, and in fact, he became very upset with her.
We can't have a baby.
Joe was very unhappy that this baby was on the horizon. A pressure, another mouth to feed, potentially Jennifer being more in love with the baby than him.
I'm sorry, but you need to have an abortion.
I can't get an abortion. I can't abort my baby.
I'm done.
Can you imagine? She's just gotten married, she's dreamed of a family. How horrible that would feel.
And as the days go by, Jennifer's family notices a change in the couple's relationship.
What are you doing?
And every time we talked, it seemed like Joe was right there, scrutinizing what she was having to say.
I get together with my friends.
That was one of the kind of recurring conversations that she and I had on the phone a lot was, well, I wanted to go out with so-and-so, but Joe wouldn't let me.
Since when was this a plan?
I told you several times.
Okay, well, I don't remember you saying a thing.
It might have felt actually flattering if he says, I don't want you going out so late by yourself. I don't want you spending so much time out there away from me. It feels like a kind of care at the beginning. But the shift from love to control is very subtle, and it happens bit by bit by bit.
The possibility of a happy family is crumbling beneath Jennifer's feet. And for investigators, a dark picture begins to emerge when someone from the strip club where Jennifer's body was found comes forward with an alarming tip.
Somebody named Joe had used a payphone inside the bar, called a cab company to take him, Joe, from the bar to Tampa International Airport. And the driver gave a rough description of Joe, which looked to be like Joe Peck. The cab driver was shown what we call a photo pack. He wasn't 100% certain that it was Joe that he put in the cab, but he also was very certain that whoever got in his cab had an olive drab green military-looking duffel bag.
Police ask Joe to hand over his luggage. And what he delivers stuns everyone.
He volunteered that he had a duffel bag that he had taken with him to Oklahoma, and it was like a green, olive drab green military bag.
Someone named Joe, matching Joe Peck's description at the Click Lounge, and carrying a green duffel bag? It seems too coincidental.
So that began locking it in for law enforcement that Joe Peck was at this bar, although Joe was saying he knew nothing about Tampa and had never been there before.
Have a seat over there.
Police examine the bag and find a speck of blood. But with DNA testing in its infancy, the blood is not able to be traced back to Jennifer. Detectives question Joe, but this time he seems different.
His demeanor had changed. He had become more cocky, I would say. He was strutting a little bit more confident.
That bag belongs to you.
Rick Childers kind of leaned forward and touched Joe on the knee and said, we know you killed Jennifer. Why don't you tell us about this? And that's when he just laced his fingers behind his head and leaned back in his chair And his exact quote was, "Well, boys, looks like I need a lawyer."
Without hard evidence tying Joe to the murder, police can't make an arrest. But not everyone is convinced Joe killed Jennifer.
Two of the detectives come in to the waiting room and they just said, we feel like Joe murdered Jennifer.
What? No.
That was like a sledgehammer hitting us. It's very hard because they don't know Jennifer. They don't know Joe. They don't know their life. They don't know that they're in love with each other.
Joe's family moves him back to Oklahoma to be closer to home.
We wanted him to be close to us. We wanted to help him through this time in his life. And without Jennifer in Florida, there was nothing really left there for him.
The police, however, view this move quite differently.
Nobody had any particular contact with him for months. He never ever made any attempt to ever notify or contact law enforcement to even ask about her or about the investigation as it was progressing through.
And that's when Joe resurfaces in the least likely of places. Police are certain Joe Peck viciously killed his pregnant wife, Jennifer. But without any hard evidence, detectives are forced to let him walk free. Joe seems to vanish into thin air until 6 months later, when he's arrested for the rape of a teenage girl.
So from that, he was charged with kidnapping and sexual battery in Oklahoma and sentenced to 15 years in prison.
Unfortunately, Joe's arrest doesn't mean justice for Jennifer. And once again, fate steps in the way when Rick Childress is killed in the line of duty and Jose Feliciano transfers to a different division.
The case itself had really gone cold because it was so much circumstantial evidence, but there was nothing that would tie Joe to the car.
The Tampa police refused to let this case go unsolved. And that's when detectives get the break they've been waiting for. In Oklahoma, Joe's sister Carol makes a startling discovery.
I was cleaning my son's room and I found a ring. I did not know where the ring had come from. I did get wedding pictures out and compared the ring to the wedding pictures that I had from Joe and Jennifer's wedding. And it appeared to be Jennifer's wedding ring.
While Joe is in prison, his belongings are stored in Carol's shed. Her son must have found the ring.
I did go through the rest of Joe's belongings, and I did find the rest of the jewelry that Jennifer had on when she was reported missing. It was a difficult position to be in, knowing that I had the evidence that would prove that my brother killed his wife and unborn child. The brother that I had grown up with, in my mind, had become a monster. And I knew that I would have to do something. I couldn't let him get out of prison and get back on the street.
It's time to call the cops.
Yeah, I found everything.
When they appear on her doorstep days later, Carol knows what she has to do.
It was like a weight had been lifted from me.
We love Jennifer, and I need to do what's right.
You're doing the right thing, Carol.
Back in Florida, police re-examine the speck of blood on Joe's duffel bag. With new DNA technology, they can now tell it's a match to Jennifer Peck. And it's not a moment too soon. Joe's about to be paroled early due to overcrowding in the prison.
You know, in a few days, I'll be a free man.
He's only days away from being released.
Come on. Look out. Joe, you're under arrest for the murder of your wife.
I had hoped that, as hard as it was on my family, that it would give Jennifer's family a little bit at peace knowing that the person that hurt their daughter is finally going to answer for it.
In the summer of 2002, Joe was charged with first-degree murder and brought before a jury. He pleads not guilty, but Tampa detectives feel otherwise.
My belief is that he wanted Jennifer to get an abortion. She didn't want to do that.
So investigators assume Joe took matters into his own hands.
I believe that he faked her into going with him under the guise that they were going to have some sort of a very nice dinner. I believe that she willingly got in the car with him.
He stopped, said, "Hey, there's something wrong with the tire." He pulled into the strip club. He tells her, "Hey, can you help me get something in the trunk?"
Hey, listen, the tire back here is really messed up.
If you could slap one character for their dumb decisions, who would it be? Huh? Go on. Vent in the comments. I can't wait to read.
She bent over. He took that hammer, hit her in the head, lifted her body in, pushed it. Closed the door and took the trunk key off the ignition. He spread her purse out, hoping that somebody was going to steal that car.
Investigators believe Joe then went into the strip club and called for a cab to the airport.
I know Joe cares absolutely nothing for human life. And I think that he's a user. I believe that he's all about control and power. I think in his mind, he was thinking, I've lost control and there's no reason to keep her here. And I believe that's why he killed her.
Joe needed to control Jennifer and everything around him because he believed if he could control, then he could have security and happiness. But this baby meant a lack of control. He couldn't control her now. And this sent him into a violent, psychotic rage.
Be honest. Did you watch the last scene through your fingers? Comment yes or no.
On September 9th, 2003, Joe Peck is found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison.
And everything you have seen is not humanly possible for him to be innocent.
For Jennifer's loved ones, his conviction is cold comfort.
Let me tell you, there is no closure. You finally get to where it's an acceptance, but that's the best you're going to achieve out of it.
There is not a day go by that I don't think of Jennifer or her family and the hurt that he's caused to them.
Jennifer's probably best remembered for her sweetness to everybody.
She's not here for me to share those memories with anymore. So I just have to remember them all in order to keep her memory alive.